morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our live Q&A. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, hello again. If you are new, I'll just quickly break down how this works. It's very easy, very simple. Basically, all you need to do is comment any questions you have regarding plants. If it's something that you are struggling with, or you want to learn more about gardening, or want some tips for a garden project, just comment it below and then I'm going to ask it towards Chris here, and then he's going to give the answer. He's got decades and decades of experience and knowledge, so you definitely know that the answer he's giving is good. I hope your Monday morning is going well so far. Happy New Year 2025. That's pretty exciting, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, new year of doing our live.
Yes, and we've got pretty cool things in store this year for them, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, all right, amazing. Well, let me see what questions are coming up so far so we can jump right in. We run these for about 45 minutes, so if you want to make sure your question is definitely answered, comment now, try and comment early. And yeah, let's jump right in with Nick's question. How do you grow huge hydrangea flower heads?
Well, there's lots of different varieties of hydrangea, and what you have to do is hunt around and find a really huge head. When I was a child, my dad bought a flower farm, and part of the flower farm there was a forest of wattle trees down by the creek, and we had probably a quarter of an acre of hydrangea that we'd use for cut flowers, and Dad would cut them and sell them. And we had one particular variety down there, and the flowers were so big that as children we'd cut them off with a long stem, put them over our shoulders, and run around in the hot sun using it as an umbrella. So the flowers would have been about this size, like that. So really huge ones, you'd have to. Now what I can do is I'll make a point of it this week. What I'll do is I'll talk to my suppliers and find, like one supplier I was dealing with last week has a pale pink or pale blue one, depending on how you treat it, with quite a large flower. I'll see if that's the biggest I can get my hands on, but if not, I'll hunt around and find the biggest ones I can. But you need, so basically, plenty of water, regular doses of fertilizer, and the right bit of genetics, and you can get those huge flowers.
Amazing. All right, moving on to the next question.
And actually, I'll just say one more thing. One thing that back in the old days, people would, what you do is there's a certain point in autumn where you collect your hydrangea flowers and you hang them up to dry, and then you can have the pleasure of those huge hydrangea, or whatever size hydrangea, right through the winter and right through spring and next summer. They just go and go and go. And you've got to pick them just at the right. If you pick them too soon, they wilt. If you pick them too late, they rot. If you pick them at just the right stage, dry them under the veranda or something like that in autumn, and you can have hydrangea flowers in a vase in the house all year.
Perfect. All right, same on that similar vein, we got, how do you propagate mophead hydrangea?
Right, okay. So what we're talking about is in America it's a popular idea, and they call it a hydrangea tree. And how I would do that is I just buy a bushy old hydrangea, and something like Sunday Praise would be a really good one, or some of the Japanese ones, but the ones with the slightly different leaf, they're called paniculata varieties, would be the best. So just get a nice bushy one, plant it, water and fertilise it, get it big and healthy this summer and into the autumn, and then it'll go dormant in the winter. Then when it comes away in spring, trim it back to just one shoot, cultivate round it, and then run that shoot up on a stake, water, keep it really well watered, really well fertilised, and grow yourself a nice 4 or 5 foot shoot off that healthy tree up a stake. Trim off all the other shoots, just run that up 4 or 5 feet, and then you nip the top off that shoot, and then it branches out, and then you've got your mophead hydrangea, and which is often called a hydrangea tree. And so it's a matter of choosing something like Sunday Phrase would be an excellent one for doing that too, or just a paniculata hydrangea.
Beautiful. All right, next question is, can I ask what's the best lily pilly for eating that grows well in Melbourne? All the information about pest-resistant requirements have thoroughly confused me.
Right, okay. Actually, there's a nursery, I can't think of the name of it, that specialises in food plants up in Sydney, and in India they have one that they eat, and they use it to make shampoo for their hair, and they use it for lots of different things. And it's very similar to the one I sell as Neighbours Be Gone, but it's an Indian one, and it is available in Australia. And I believe that would be the best lily pilly to get to eat. And I don't know where that particular one's affected by the beetles, but the Neighbours Be Gone lily pilly, which we still have a few of those, that is affected by the beetle, but that produces quite a good edible fruit that people up in North New South Wales and Queensland make chutney out of, and you can make wine, and you can do all sorts of things with that one. But I believe that the Indian one, which you can buy in Australia, I've seen it up for sale, is probably the best fruiting and best eating one. It's probably something that should be grown here in Australia as a commercial crop.
Interesting. Next one is from Fraser. What hedge would you recommend to grow in an area that is heavily shaded?
I reckon you can't, well actually, super duper heavy, like almost in the dark, what you can't beat is a Choisya tenata, or commonly called a Mexican orange blossom. And that has beautiful white fragrant flowers in springtime, lovely dark green glossy leaves, needs fairly good soil, bit of water, bit of fertiliser, and it can grow a beautiful hedge anywhere between say 80 centimetres and 2.2 metres in height. And then the next best, and probably a lot tougher and easier to grow, is your sweet viburnum, and there's a whole family of different sweet viburnums that you can get, but your sweet viburnum's excellent in the shade, and a little bit hardy. So Choisya tenata and sweet viburnum are the two best for the shade.
And we also have a really good article on our website that's like the top 10 best plants for a shady area. If you also want to go check out some other options, just go to Chris's blog and then use the search function for top 10 best plants for a shady area. Moving on to the next question. Any idea for some evergreen hedging for a backyard with full sun and clay throughout soil?
So a good clay-loving hedge is your Petinia robusta. Where a lot of things don't like clay, your Petinia actually adores the clay. And I remember one of my customers is actually my landlord here, and I recommended he was moving on to a new property, and I recommended that he plant petunias, and because he had horrible clay soil, it was all a bit dry, a little bit windswept and hot, and quite a terrible spot. And he planted them, and in the end he grubbed them out because he reckons they were growing too quick. So in the toughest spot ever, he reckons they were growing too quick. Also, boxleaf privet is very good in the clay, and a difficult site too. So boxleaf privet and Petinia robusta, both fabulous in heavy clay soils and hot sun.
Perfect. Next one is yellow trumpet vines / creeping fig / Boston ivy to hide backyard metal shed. Which one would you recommend?
My partner and I have got a really ugly shed in our backyard, and we've got Boston ivy over it, and it's beautiful. Like it's lovely autumn colour, really, and it covered the whole shed quite ferociously, quite quickly. So I would, for fast cover. Now, say I had a really big shed, and I was after really, really fast cover. Your Virginia creeper is even, Boston ivy is fast, and Virginia creeper is even faster. So if I was, and I went to a winery in Tasmania, and had a beautiful big shed, and it had a wine shop inside it, and it was absolutely covered in Virginia creeper, and it was just turning in the autumn. It was absolutely gorgeous. So Virginia creeper is even faster than the Boston ivy.
Mahaya would like to know, how do I get grubs out of the soil?
the main grub you get is that sort of curly kind of grub in there, and that is a cockchafer, and that will eat the roots on certain trees and bushes, and they'll sort of almost fall over with no roots, and it'll also destroy the grass. Now, cockchafers, the types of chemicals that get rid of them are really nasty, expensive chemicals that cause pollution. And so, unless you're really desperate, I wouldn't use that. But one thing that I learned, and lighter soils tend to get more cockchafers in them than heavier soils. And I had a nursery with a bad cockchafer problem at one stage, and I had a consultant who used to help me, and he said, you're running it too dry, and that was true. What we'd do is when after summer was over, I'd let it dry right out in the autumn, because the plants weren't as cool and they weren't really wilting. But in that dry conditions, the cockchafers will go and preserve. And so he said that I should water it more, and I found that without using any nasty chemicals, by keeping your lawn wet or keeping your garden bed wet, wherever you've got those cockchafers, by keeping it more moist in late summer and autumn, as it cools off, you can not get rid of them, but certainly suppress them.
We're just having some issues with our mic, so we're just going to quickly fix that because Chris is sounding a little bit soft. Sorry about that. So just bear with us as we fix that. Is my mic sounding fine?
Yeah, yours is fine.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll chat to you guys a little bit about our summer sale that's going on right now, just as Emlyn fixes Chris's mics. So our summer sale is huge. There's so many plants in it right now. It's actually insane. And we do have an article out about it. So if you just go to Chris's blog, you can read all about the specials happening there. We've got everything from edibles, trees, flowering plants, borders, so many. So make sure you head over to there. All right, is the
I'm
Michael...
going to get him to hold it like that. We'll see if that's any better. We've just had a few people saying it's fine.
Okay, cool. Let's keep going then.
Like a microphone, yeah.
Yeah. All right, next one is any suggestions for Australian natives which can grow well in Warrandyte? Warrandyte.
Really, Warrandyte's a great country. You can grow almost anything, but some really nice, colourful ones would be something
Chris,
like...
keep up. Keep the mic up.
Really nice, colourful ones would be things like Philotheca. Philotheca, beautiful white and pink fragrant flowers for months and months in spring and early summer. And another one for some winter colour, try your Burrajong Beauty. It doesn't grow, it grows fairly wide. It's a Hakea Burrajong Beauty. Amazing show of pink flowers through the winter.
And they have
really wonderful.
They have a preference for narrow scrub up to 4 metres high and a narrow tree up to 6 metres high for that Australian native.
Okay, so a narrow tree up to 6 metres, you couldn't be a native frangipani. They just tend to grow quite tall and narrow, and they lovely foliage, a nice breakaway from the eucalypts, a really lovely lush foliage, and beautiful golden flowers with a lovely soft fragrance. And then for your narrow shrub, really hard to beat your Callistemon Slim, which is a sort of a narrow growing callistemon with amazing red flowers and really, really nice foliage.
Do you want me to give my mic to Chris?
Yeah, might switch mic. Sorry, everybody. And then, Danae, you just be nice and loud on your questions.
I can do that. All right.
There we
Do
go.
you want to maybe just put on his
Yeah,
collar?
you can just go on your collar now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Sorry about
we
that,
need
guys.
The other one. Sorry,
Nothing. That
that was the one he
No,
had.
I already swapped it.
Yeah, we need that one.
No, I already swapped. Oh, this.
Yeah. You have
Oh.
that one back, because that's for TikTok. And then, wait, yeah, that one, that goes to you. Perfect.
Right, so here we are.
Because I already
Should be
swapped.
better.
I already swapped the
Back
mics.
on that summer sale, what's happening with the summer sale
Try that.
is it's actually snowballing. What's happening is that other
Let me see.
growers and
Okay.
wholesalers have noticed how we're really selling a lot of stuff at the moment, and they've been giving me big discounts on their stock. And so basically over the next week, our summer sale, although it's really big now, is going to double in size and triple in bargain. So it's actually snowballing because we've got other growers and wholesalers joining us.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. What's the next question? MIMID would like to say that they miss your nursery in Traralgon. Please come back. And they want to know where is your closest nursery to Traralgon.
Well, it's actually, well, either way, it's interwoven. What it is, I know you've driven around the streets, it's hard to find us, but what you do is you go to hellohello.com.au and if you spend over $300, we're up there once a week, spend over $300 and we deliver it to your door. And if you went to the Hello Hello website, you'll find that we've got 15,000 items, incredible range, bigger range of stuff than any other nursery in Victoria. So massive range of plants, free delivery, and you can even say you didn't know what to plant in your garden, get on Zoom, get a free garden design, and then get it delivered in Tarragona. So in a way, in a spiritual sense, we're actually in Tarragona right now.
They're in spirit.
So,
Perfect.
and you can get and us there in a spiritual sense, then you can have the plants there in a real sense.
Perfect. All right. Next question is, can I transplant established hedged lily pillies and magnolias?
Magnolias, yes. Deciduous or evergreen, you've got to do it at the right time of year, which would be in the cooler months. And lily pillies, no. Lily pillies don't transplant. They tend to collapse on you when you dig them up. But magnolias, you could look up on the internet how to do it. But magnolias, even the evergreen ones, are quite willing to be transplanted.
W wants to know if you're the watch out for the wombat guy from the old 80s/90s ads.
Watch out for the wombats out the front, mate. I'd forgotten about that, actually.
Chris's legacy stretches very far back.
We used to finish out all of our ads with watch out for the wombats out the front, mate. That was when we had wombats out the plant farm.
That was way before my time.
Me and Bill. And we'd be selling weeping cherries, and he said, I'm the one doing the weeping.
That's amazing. Maybe we'll have to dig that up, see if we can find that. Next question is from MF. What can I plant near the house that doesn't have aggressive roots and won't damage the house?
You know, if you're looking for a tree, you could go for a Japanese maple, and I reckon you'd have to go to a plastic tree to get something with less roots. Japanese maples really don't have a big or extensive root system, and you can grow quite a decent sized one right near the house and not have too many roots. And then if you go for grafted ones, like weeping ones and things like that, they have even less roots than the normal ones.
And Jay would like to know a small tree that I can plant on my verge, close to pipework and fence posts.
So, a nice small tree, like you can do something like an Acoma crepe myrtle, and there's a place I drive past some, and they're about 30 years old, and they're barely 3 metres. So genuinely a small tree. Then you've got all your grafted sort of standard trees, things like Acer globosums, and what happens is that they get a fast-growing tree, they run it up a metre or two, and then they graft the smaller type of tree onto it, and that guarantees you a small tree way into the future. And you've got your Acer globosum, you've got your designer catalpa, you've got your Mount Fuji cherry. You've got a lot of those grafted standards. You can go in, get a 2 metre tree, and years from now, it's only going to be 3.5 metres tall. Great for the verge.
Perfect. All right, next question. How fast can a box leaf privet grow in a year?
I reckon, say you bought a 6-inch pot and you gave it a whole year and you had no grass or weeds around it, you planted it well with a bit of loose soil, regular fertiliser, regular water, not wanting for anything, I reckon 1.5 metres.
Perfect.
But that wouldn't give you a sort of a dense hedge of 1.5 metres. You'd then trim it up, and within 6 months you'd have a dense hedge. So 18 months you'd have a 1.5 metre dense hedge. 2 years you'd have a 2 metre dense hedge.
Perfect. Next one is, can I move loquat to ground in summers? Loquat?
Yeah.
In ground. Can I move it to ground in summer?
Right, so you want to move your loquat tree, definitely not in summer, and I'd say with care during the winter months with a decent sized root ball.
Yeah. How do you get rid of insects in tomatoes and parsimony fruits?
Right, okay, say you're, the main reason people grow fruits and things at home is to have nice healthy ones, and I would say if you had little tiny insects, you could mix up pyrethrum and a bit of dishwashing detergent, and that'll get rid of a lot of your small insects. And normally when you do that, you'll spray them once and then spray them, say, 36 hours later, so that the new eggs being hatched was not particularly poisonous. The new eggs being hatched get wiped out as well, and then you might do them again a week later. But pyrethrum dishwashing detergent, very safe. I used to use it when little kids, I'd use it around the house when I was little kids running around. And then another good one that's being used now is your what do you call it? What the Indians use, it's not your mealia,
Mirum?
Neem. Neem. So neem oil is now available commercially in Australia, and neem has a really terrible bitter flavour, and you could spray that on and really deter the insects just with the awful taste of neem. So neem is another one. And, but if you went online, you'd probably find other things as well. Like a lot of people use like deer to kill their snails.
Mm-hmm. Linda would like to know if you have any snake plants, which is very relevant to the conversation we were having in the morning, weirdly enough.
Well, they always talk about snakes in the plants.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about having little snakes in the plants. But the snake plant, I'm wondering what, we might need to Google and see what, I'm not sure, that's like a common name, and I'm not sure what. Snake
plant. Let's have a look.
What would be really popular is
Dracaena dryfasciata. It's like, oh, it's that one there, right to your left.
Yeah, I had a feeling it might be that. That's a mother-in-law's tongue, and we actually do have them sitting right next to a whole patch of them.
I'll just quickly move. They're literally right there. To the right of Chris. Yeah. Alright, let's go. Swivel you back. Okay.
Yeah, I call them mother-in-law's tongues, so not snake. And they're a fantastic plant. My mum had one of the. I gave one to my mum for Christmas or a birthday or something like that. And I reckon she had it at the front door in a little pot for about 15 years on a nice little stand. It was an amazingly good little plant.
Nice. Next one is, please recommend a narrow compact tree, annual/deciduous, against a fenced sidewalk and doesn't mess with the house slab.
Okay, so they wanted deciduous?
They said annual/deciduous.
Okay, so really good narrow trees that are not going to mess with the slab. First of all, there's a thing called a sky pencil, which is an evergreen. It grows 3.5–4 metres, grows 60 or 70 centimetres wide, and it's really just a very small tree or a big bush, and only 60 centimetres wide, quite tall, and that's a really good safe one to put up close to the house. Then I reckon the one that I use quite often is a plum, an ornamental plum called a Prunus oakbill, crimson spire. And it has beautiful purple red foliage, and with a little bit of a trim you can keep that 70 or 80 centimetres wide, and it just has like a small plum tree root system. It really isn't too aggressive, and that's something that I use. A lot of people ask me to put, when we're doing garden designs, they'll ask me to put capital pears and really narrow garden beds, and I always refuse to do it, and I tend to use the something like a Prunus oakbill or a sky pencil instead of, so that it doesn't outgrow that little skinny bed.
All right. The next question we get, I think we get almost every live, pretty much, and on our comments on our videos. Enhanced Win 7 wants to know, where's the tutu, Chris? Do you have the tutu? Is the tutu in the room with us?
I've given up on the tutu. Years ago I used to wear it for promotional purposes, but I've now given up on the tutu.
That's a shame that people want the tutu, Chris. What are we going to do? Are you sure you're not wearing a tutu? I feel like you normally say you're wearing it underneath, they just can't see it if you're really giving up. I mean, maybe we should go to stand. Do you want to go look at the plants over there, Chris, and maybe stand up and show it? What's that then, if there isn't no tutu? I think it's a pit. I don't think you can get rid of the pink tutu. Finally giving you guys what you want. I think you ask every single week. And we managed to convince Chris to put it on, so I hope that's made your day. Enhanced Win 7 and everyone else's day. We'll keep going with the gardening questions. From Stella, we have any advice on screening plants that can be grown in shade? screening plants that can be grown in the shade.
So we talked about that a little bit earlier. A sort of a 1 to 2 metre screen, you can't beat in a really, really shady spot. You've got your Mexican orange blossom, or correctly named Choisya tenata. Beautiful evergreen, fragrant flowers, really good one. And then you've got your sweet viburnum, and you've got a number of different sweet viburnums, different varieties with different textures and speeds of growth. And they are fabulous, and they've got big, really lush green foliage, so that they can suck up what light they need from a fairly shady spot. So they're your two best for in the shade. And where the sweet viburnum is particularly good is what's a very common situation is people might have a big tree in front of their house, and at one end of their front hedge it's sunny, and at the other end it's deep shade. Now, if you put a sun lover there, like say you were to put like a ficus there, you'll find it'll thrive in the sunny end and struggle and be sparse and terrible in the shady end, and essentially the hedge will be a failure. But with something like the sweet viburnum, they look great in the sun and they look great in the shade. So you can have that situation, which is very common. One end is shady, the other end is hot and sunny. You can have it looking with a sweet viburnum, have it looking all the way through. And one cutting idea that you could do, say you did have that situation, they do grow a little bit slower in the shade. So what you could do is you might buy 8-inch pots and put them up the sunny end, and buy 10-inch pots, which are twice the size, and put them at the shady end. And then by the time they grow, you'll end up with the same size hedge. So that's a bit of a cunning idea when you're running sun to shade.
Amazing. Isha has a hydrangea flowers blooming that look very discoloured now. Should I prune it to encourage another bloom?
It's going to be hard to get more blooms this season, but if you were to cut it now and get some nice new shoots on it, those shoots might be of an age, like because they've got quite a few months to grow yet, that you get really good spring flowers next year. And if you keep your hydrangeas really well watered and regularly fertilised, the flowers don't have to sort of. If you've got hydrangeas and they're browning off or discolouring now, it's because they're stressed and they're not getting enough water and fertiliser. So up the water and fertiliser next year, and the flowers will go right through the mother stage.
Amazing. My gardenia I planted next to my diosma is drying out and having trouble even with daily watering.
Okay, so gardenias are like weeds when you put them in exactly the right spot in the right conditions, and very difficult to grow when they're in the wrong spot. And what they like is they like acidic soil. So in most parts of Melbourne, like you've got your sandbelt down in Brighton and Bentley and places like that, and down there people can just throw gardenias in. As long as they water them and fertilise them, they'll absolutely thrive. But when you get out in Rowville and other areas, Narrawarra and that, where you've got clay soils, really when you plant your gardenias, you should dig a big hole and buy. But we have a gardenia soil mix. You buy your gardenia soil mix. I think you buy it in Bunnings as well. But you get a gardenia soil mix, and you mix that. You dig a big hole and mix that 50-50. Put your gardenia soil mix in there, and then Osmocote's good fertiliser. But the very best fertiliser you can get for gardenias, and I've seen it from gardenias back from the dead. It's amazing fertiliser for gardenias, and it's Osmocote liquid fertiliser for acid-loving plants. So Osmocote liquid fertiliser for acid-loving plants. So basically, to sum up the needs of a gardenia, they need loose, loamy soil. It needs to be slightly acidic. They need regular water, particularly if you're in Brighton or somewhere sandy soil, lots and lots of water. You've got your fertiliser, you've got your nice loose acidic soil, and you're in business. That's what they need to thrive. And some people say you can't grow them in the hot sun, but actually gardenias, given all the other things, gardenias do beautifully in the hot sun. And when people are growing them in heavy clay and they don't have a good root system, then you find they wither in the hot sun.
Yeah. Naz would like to know, what is a budget-friendly hedging plant similar to Buxus English box but faster growing?
Right. There's a couple really. it's although I'll just say it used to be in the old days that English box used to be expensive, but what's happened today is that English box has become probably the most planted plant in Melbourne and Victoria, and as a result, lots and lots of nurseries are having a go at growing it, and it's hard to beat English box for budget reasons, because like at the moment we've got beautiful, they're probably 25 centimetres tall, really bushy, beautiful English box, and they're $4.99.
Amazing.
So from a budget point, and I plant 5 per metre, which means it's going to cost you just shy of $25 a metre to plant a beautiful box hedge. And if you want it to be more economical, we've got them about 12 or 15 centimetres tall for $2.69. So it's hard to beat them on a budget point of view. But say for instance, box leaf privet. The average person looks like an English box. Now, box leaf privet requires less soil preparation. It can grow in almost any soil. It requires plenty of water, but probably a bit less fertiliser. Pretty much any soil. And you can grow a hedge, a nice little hedge, in basically in 6 to 12 months. And you only need 3 to the metre. And although per plant, nothing beats an English box in price, and you can come to our store here, but per plant you only need 3 per metre, so you could grow a half metre tall box style hedge for around about $15 a metre in 12 months with box leaf privet. So that would, although it's not cheaper per plant, you need less plants. So that would be the most economical box style hedge. Would be buying 3-inch box leaf privet, planting 3 per metre, and watering and fertilising them like crazy. 50 centimetre hedge and looking real good in 12 months.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly restart the TikTok live just because we are lagging a little bit. So everyone, I'm just going to end it and I'm going to restart it. But for everyone else on the other platforms, you'll be fine. You can just keep watching.
Actually, what I can talk about while you're waiting, while we're resetting the TikTok, is about summer. And lots of people ask me, summer a good time to plant. You know, I'm trying to plant 4,000 or 5,000 plants a day in my production nursery because summer is a great time to plant. Plants, they grow well watered and fertilised. A plant in a week will do what it will do in 6 weeks in winter. So in terms of growth, you'll get 6 weeks of cool weather growth in 1 week. And we're potting plants at the moment and getting them ready for sale in 2 to 3 weeks. So really, but I mean, you're not growing plants to sell, but if you're wanting to establish a garden and get a bit of size on it, now's the time to get plants in. You'll get root growth, and the main thing is, on a hot day, plants don't dislike it. If you give them water and fertiliser and heat, they go berserk, and they love it. So, and then with your own plants, like there's attitudes or things that you could do in summer to benefit your garden. Like for instance, we're getting a beautiful lot of rain through most of Victoria and Melbourne, and something that very few people would do is now's a great time to water because it's been dry. It's been dry for 6 or 8 weeks, and the soil has got dry deep down. Now, if you were to go out and put on sprinklers or water in this weather that we've got now, this rainy weather that we've got now, it would have 2 or 3 times the effect of watering on a hot, dry day, and you could get water very quickly down deep in the garden and keep your garden really looking lush and good for weeks and weeks and weeks. And like I used to have a nursery right in the centre of, a big nursery right in the centre of Emerald, with all the town looking in on my nursery. And what would happen, we'd get a bit of weather like this in summer, and on would go my sprinklers, and I'd be looking to get some water down deep in the ground, and my phone would be ringing and say, "Chris, your sprinklers are on, and it's raining." And I'd say, well, actually, that's what I wanted. And then the next few hot days come, I wouldn't be watering at all because I've got lots of water in the ground now. So, and then another thing that's really handy in summer is soil wetter. And soil wetter is an agricultural detergent. It only lasts for 12 months in the soil, and then it sort of biodegrades and disappears. But if you're wanting to plant at this time of year, You just sprinkle a bit of that on. It's pretty cheap. It's very easy to use. It's very safe to use. It's not poisonous or anything like that. You wouldn't eat it, but it's not poisonous. And if you sprinkle a bit of soil, things you can do with soil water, you can sprinkle it on your pots, and the water will go in quicker and better and stay longer. You can sprinkle it around newly planted plants, or you might have a tree that's looking a bit sad because it's dried out over the last few months, and you could sprinkle it around that, and then you'll find that you put your soaking hose on and put a hose dripping on it, and that water will go right into where it's needed very, very quickly. So soil wetter, in terms of dealing with summer, watering in a bit of rain like this, soil wetter, all a great help. And then don't be afraid to plant in this sort of weather, because plants are going to do fabulously, as long as you water them.
Amazing. All right, next one is, does Bougainvillea thrive in Melbourne weather, and do we have Bougainvillea plants?
We don't have a great display. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be stocking up and up on Bougainvilleas. They've been a little bit hard to get early in the season, but they're just coming on at the supplies, and I'll be putting in a big. But I have 20 or so Bougainvilleas out there at the moment, and in particular, I've got that really popular purple one. But we've also got, if you're interested in Bougainvillea, we've got the most, up on our socials, we've got the most amazing, one of my customers and friends called Kim invited me over to have a look at probably an 80 or 90-year-old Bougainvillea bonsai, and it's called the Dragon. And that's doing really well on our social media. It's worth a look, all in flower, beautifully shaped, it's an incredible piece of an amazing piece of horticultural art, about 80 years old. Really worth a good look.
It's absolutely incredible. I'd highly recommend going and checking that out. Taylor wants to say that they recently started following and has already learned so much from us, which is amazing. And they would also like to know a privacy bush that's thick but fast growing, that they can make a 1-foot wall out of. And hello from Long Beach, California.
All right, okay. A privacy wall, Long Beach, California. Is it Long Beach or Long Beach?
Say it again, Long Beach, California. Long Beach, California.
So, and they want it 1 foot wide, do they?
I think it was, let me look at that again. It was just to make a 1-foot wall out of, I assume, wide.
Right, okay. I wonder how tall they want it. In Australia, and I'm sure you could buy it in California, we have a thing called Restringia, and one of the most popular Restringias is Restringia fruticosa, and it flowers for about 5 or 6 months a year. It's lovely little flowers, and it has almost like little tiny leaves on it. It's a really lovely, delicate hedge that I'm sure you can hunt around and find over there in California. It's incredibly hardy, grows in any sort of soil, loves the heat, loves the dry, thrives in hot, dry conditions. In quite dry spots, here in Victoria, we grow it as a hedge without hardly any watering. And I mean, water is always a bit of an issue in California. And then I'm just thinking, I actually had a nursery in California for a while. Selling a thing called a Sapphire Dragon. That was many, many years ago, and so I've had quite a bit of experience growing gardens over there. So a really fast, interesting one would be, and we use it a lot here in Melbourne, would be boxleaf privet. And boxleaf privet happily stays a metre wide, a foot wide, happily stay a foot wide, and you can get it up 1.5 metres in a year, 2 metres in 2 years, and really easy to keep very, very narrow. So boxleaf privet, and the proper name for that, you'd have to look for it under its proper name, is Ligustrum undulatum, so Ligustrum undulatum. Really good for a tall, narrow hedge. And you can sort of sculpt it, you can, shape it and things like that. There's lots of, you look at Google boxleaf privet on Google and you'll see lots of really good hedges.
Perfect. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up here for today. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I just think part of the problem with doing lives is that when things go wrong, it does obviously happen in live time. But we will be back again Monday, 12 p.m, whatever platform you're on right now. So please come join us next week. If we didn't get to your question, Sorry, we can only run it for this amount of time, but please come next week, come early, ask your question early, and it will definitely be answered that way. But in the meantime, I hope the rest of your Sunday is wonderful, and hopefully we will see you next Monday.
Thank you.
In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, shed and blue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. Alright. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and blue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello.